Kerma, she Gostin Hodgin Tenham a Haorn, Hamin am Kion Suye Kosher Gaelic Glasgow, Agus Haina Holocaust Morho, Falcha a Kurorif, Kuna Kurum Hul Shaw, and Talkative Kurum Hul Reno Aki. Hai Deriv a Kritchin, Gavelshin Erevia do Fate, a Hitolin Evi as many Gavelshin Ochkitlina Ok, Kukinche, Kanyarskul Yor An and Has. Worried about that since last year. Hello, good evening. My name is Gordon Hodge. I'm the president of the Glasgow Islay Gaelic Choir, and it's my enormous pleasure to welcome you to this, our 80th annual concert. It's difficult to believe we've been on the go for so long, but we like to think that we're 80 years young. We certainly still have plenty of life in us yet. As is traditional, I'm going to whiz through what we've been up to since our last concert before handing over to this evening's chair. We followed our summer break with a couple of adventures. The first was a day trip to Tobermory for the Milngavie. Despite the early start and my frayed nerves as we waited for everyone to arrive on the Pier Nogan and then get on the bus in Creekmuir, we had a brilliant day and we were very pleased to have an opportunity to road test our repertoire for the Royal National Mod. We followed this up by singing with amazing Swiss male voice choir Milngavie alongside local boys Close Shave at a concert in Kelvinside Hillhead Parish Church. It truly was a wonderful evening, and if you've never heard Milngavie before, I certainly would encourage you to check them out. My other recommendation would be to take a big coat and a scarf if you're ever invited to anything at Kelvinside Hillhead in autumn or winter. Beautiful surroundings, but my goodness, I had icicles forming on the end of my nose by the end of the night. The concert with Milngavie was actually the start of our Mod Week, and we found ourselves across in Paisley just a few days later. We very much enjoyed learning and performing our pieces this past year, particularly as Kirsty and Maeve have done so much to help us really feel the meaning of the songs, and as Kirsty would have it, get into the spirit of the bardic. We were really pleased with our performances in Paisley's beautifully refurbished town hall, and we enjoyed our share of success too. Our quartet in Halligan, made up of Alison, Carrie, Claire, and our Lewis correspondent Claire Macaulay, were crowned winners, while our ladies placed second in their competition, which was hosted in the stunning setting of Paisley Abbey. Of course, this year's Royal National Mod was in many ways a strange and unsettling experience, coming as it did so soon after the passing of Christine McLennan, conductor of the Black Elk Choir. Daughter of the legendary Hamish Menzies and a force of nature in her own right, Kirstine's passing shook the Gaelic community to its core. The inclusion of Kirstine's arrangement of Inyala Van in the senior men's choral competition was especially poignant, and I know I speak for all of our men when I say that it was a great privilege to take part in the massed male voice performance of the piece late on the Friday afternoon. We were so pleased to see Kerry lead the Black Elk Choir to success in the second year, a phenomenal achievement in the saddest of circumstances. We were sorry too at the passing of Neil Buchanan, husband of our dear soprano Christine. Neil was a great supporter of the choir for many years and will be missed by us all, and we're very glad to have Christine back with us tonight. We bade farewell to 2023 by singing some festive tunes at Antonine House Care Home in Bearsden, and then adjourned just along the road to the Burnbrae for a fantastic Christmas meal. Santa brought us the gift of not one but 4 new tenors, Ewan, Gio, Seamus and Simeon, and you'll hear 2 of them singing this evening. Far be it from me to suggest that there might have been more pressure on Seamus to dust off his vocal cords than there was on the others. The choir continues to expand in other ways too. Indeed, Elizabeth suggested that our quartet would be disqualified at the moment because there were actually 6 of them on stage. Carrie and Kenny welcomed young Callum in November, and you'll notice when she takes the stage that our Claire is also expecting him an arrival with her husband Stephen, a wee cousin for Rosie. Inga and her husband Andrew joined us in Paisley with baby Charlie, who became an official Mod mascot and is already signed up as a tenor, just as soon as he's ready. Whilst we're on the subject of families, I'd like to take a moment to send our very best wishes to Neil McLean, Kirsty and Ian's younger son, who's taken unexpectedly unwell a couple of weeks ago. Though he may not sing with us, you'll recognise Neil as a hard-working and enthusiastic member of the Glasgow Islay family, selling tickets and CDs and generally being our most devoted cheerleader. We miss you, Neil, and we hope to have you back with us before too long. Get well soon. We have exciting times ahead of us in 2024 as we celebrate our 80th birthday. We're westering home to Islay for the first time in some years, where we'll be singing alongside the Islay Choir in Bowmore a month tomorrow, the 23rd of March. I hear the raffle prizes will be pretty special in Bowmore, so maybe you should check the ferry timetables for that. As well as working towards the Royal National Mod in Oban, a comfy bed guaranteed for me, not sure about the rest of you, we have plans for a few additional concerts, so follow us on Facebook and keep your eyes peeled for dates. It's now time for me to welcome this evening's chair, Catherine Calendar. Like me, Catherine hails from the capital of the West Highlands, so she must be a good egg. Leaving Oban to study at the Royal Scottish Academy of Music and Drama, Catherine went on to forge a very successful career in musical education and as a professional musician, and has been the conductor of her sister choir in Dublin since 2016. Catherine was unable to join us at last year's concert due to the sad passing of her dear mother, Nan Black, so I'm especially pleased to be able to welcome her here tonight. Like Nan before her, Catherine is a well-kent face in the Gaelic and musical communities and hardly needs an introduction. So it gives me great pleasure to hand you over to our chair, Catherine Callum. Go in time,
Fesgyd ma hwyl y dyniau, cha mi chwl tolysio fi'n sio noch, ha yn dyniau ag yn gilmer yn sio cwydjach. Tachblaif ar son y cwri ar son y fi yn cathrig ar son y heichir. As I say, or I hope I said, I'm delighted to be here and do thank you for inviting me. I also have some trepidation in standing here. Usually, when I'm in front of an audience, I have on the hat of a singer, an accompanist, a teacher, a coach, a conductor, blah, blah, blah. Tonight, I'm just Catherine with no hat. So I'm a little out of my comfort zone. And in fact, it's the first thing I've ever cheered out with, education. So, we'll see. Thank you for inviting me. Although I'm the proud conductor of Glasgow Gaelic Choir, the fabulous guys and gals who there's a couple here tonight. Some of them are away singing in East Kilbride. I first remember encountering the Glasgow Islay Choir when I was in my early teens. My mum was a member of Open Gaelic Choir for many years, and I was often at rehearsals as I was obsessed with all things music and had sung in Gaelic in the Rockfield Choir since I was 6. Going to these rehearsals as a young teen, I just soaked it all up. The Love in Tullabarton was the highlight of my mum's year, and through time, mine too. One of my earliest memories actually at the Mod with the big choirs was Sheila Nichol with Glasgow Islay Choir. There were many other conductors, but around that time, but she made such an impression on me. She had such a great presence with the choir. I may have missing years with conductors, but the other conductors of Glasgow Islay I recall are Seamus, of course, and Ewan Miller. I love and loved Ewan's arrangements and used to analyse them like a pure geek when I was a teenager, and I loved listening to them. When I graduated from RSMD, I was invited to adjudicate at the Love in Tullabarton and saw all these people who I'd admired from afar, I have to say, and was slightly in awe of some of them. Over the years, I got to invited to adjudicate there. It's always been an honour to adjudicate at the Love in Tullabarton, but then I jumped the fence and I went into the terror, joy of competition. My mum and her cousin Anne, who I was talking to Fiona Ray about a wee while ago, by this time didn't sing in the Open Gaelic Choir. They had become comfy chair adjudicators and used to have, when there was a royal event, they would have banners and whatnot and afternoon tea. The same happened without the banners for the Love It in Tullabarton, where they would have their afternoon tea. And then at night time, they would phone me and have the post-mortem of the thing. And if I happened to have been working at it and didn't agree, or they didn't agree with me, my mother would say, "Oh, well, you know best," which obviously meant you don't know best, you're wrong, and you made a bad judgment. So, Glasgow Islay Gaelic Choir has always been a mighty choir in the Gaelic choral world, extending their repertoire into different genres of music. For example, concerts with a Runrig. This all under the baton of Kirstine Grant, who I'm very honoured to call a very good friend. But is she really a very good friend? Just take a wee look at the back of your programme. You will see in the back of your programme an absolutely beautiful picture of Kirstine, with her shiny black hair, dark hair, and her beautiful smile. Okay? It's from 40 or 45 plus years ago. But who is that with her? And why is that person wearing such dodgy clothing? And what on earth is going on with her hair? In Airdrie, that would be called a mullet. Well, I can only imagine that I thought I looked marvellous at the time. I think her friendship will survive this outing and public showing of the photo. Kirstine Grant is an amazing musician and conductor, as you well know. So we're in for an absolute treat tonight. And we kick off proceedings with Mollen na Lungdai, the praise of Isla, arranged by Ewan Miller. Last year's Purst, which was really a great sing. And I'm looking forward to hearing that again. And then Avenue with the lovely Alison as the soloist. And as Gordon said, alluded to Hamish and Kirstine, and this particular piece just always reminds me of Hamish and his boundless joy that he extended to everybody musically and personally. And the words and the music of this song are just wonderful. So I would like to welcome Glasgow Islay Gaelic Choir and Kirstine to the stage.
A speck on the horizon, from looking out from Kennacraig, you'll see the island of Islay.
Oh
Achaya used to be sung by the massed choirs at the National Mod at the crowning of the Bard. And it's become associated, and a lot of us have fond memories of it at, I'm afraid, funerals. But the words are a blessing for God to pour a blessing down on the language and the culture. And it's good to take these words back to their original source and the pride that is sung by the Gael in singing those actual words. Achanya.
beautiful, absolutely beautiful. Our first soloist of this evening is Fergus Muir, who hails from Islay. Fergus reached the final of the gold medal last year, which was an absolutely excellent achievement. So let's give him a round of applause for that. I would now like to invite you, Fergus, to come and sing for us.
Burige
nas lurige furige nil, og ven has chilsche himi hubrar. Michelichus mi facne chirsho boere vagilis gone and dive hanguring mi frachert sochi on a nil glasche can living sischen can try burige living frischer frischer burige Weitchen as lurige furige nil, og ven has chilsche himi Mohoritan nogu bennog chweliaving, stöving lang hingun tuch mi hochgrag, ach mag wie es mi maren, hitch mi hast du il, skuchtze gut kinchach, wer mi moav. Urike living frischer, frischer, urike living chilchena kach, weitchen as lurike, urike mile, og ven has chilsche himi gubrar.
What a time, Fergus. Now, the ladies in the choir are going to come and sing. My first mod with Glasgow Gaelic Choir was in Stornoway, and I believe the ladies, you ladies won that year. Fear the Fear. Fear the Fear, wasn't it? Yes, I think so. And I remember that some of they might remember Elizabeth Campbell should, and I think Alison was there too, I'm not sure about Claire. But they joined us in the County Hotel in Stornoway. And we had a very kind of spirit-filled version of Fear the Fear, which the Glasgow Gaelic Choir, we had actually renamed We Feel the Fear, because it was a tricky one. But I think it was an excellent rendition we did that night. It was very joyous. The Glasgow Islay ladies over the years have had marvellous success at the mod, and tonight they are going to sing last year's test piece, arranged by Kenny Thompson, who is here tonight, and it's He Camcorder, followed by Kirstein's own arrangement of Glasgow Islay Gaelic Choir. So ladies, looking forward to hearing you.
As you will have gathered, there's quite a close connection between the choirs in Glasgow and even as far out as Cumbernauld. But this first piece is arranged by the great GG's conductor. The GG are about 150 years old, and we're not saying who are founder members or not. But this arrangement is by Kenny Thompson. We have great competition and we have great camaraderie, I think we would all agree. And this arrangement, you're going to get a very sad love song and then you're going to get a very happy one. This first one is about a jealous woman, and she left, I believe, her sister to drown on the beach, on the shore, when she was out collecting cockles, all through the love of a man. The second one is a song from Mull. It's a happy one, and she, I think, probably gets her nan.
lovely was that? Really, really lovely. Altos, I was getting the full throttle of the altos there. It was gorgeous. So really, really nice. Well, now, how do I introduce the next performer? He really requires no introduction, being a bit of an institution himself, but that might make him sound too old. Charlie Kilpatrick is a wonderful accordionist, a great raconteur, as you will hear, I'm sure, in a few seconds, and an all-round good guy. Of course he would be, being an Argyllshire man, brought up on the lovely island of Iona, and attending, like myself and Gordon Hodge, Oban High School, although we just missed each other by a few years. I'll leave you to work out which way we missed each other. And so let's welcome Charlie to give us a few tunes on the box.
Thank you very much, Catherine, for that kind introduction. And I can say in this music game, I've had introductions all over the world and other places as well. And I can honestly say, Catherine, that that introduction there was the most recent. Anyway, could I maybe start with my wife, Joanne, who many of you know. Well, I call her Joanne because that's her name. But she sings in Catherine's Milngavie Gaelic Choir. And she was going to accompany me here tonight, but more or less as we were coming out the door, we got a phone call that our daughter's cat had died. Oh. It's worse than that. So Joanne is away over to offer tea and sympathy to the and stop the tears and all that. So I'm here on my own. I'm here on my own, girls. Now you're all sitting there wondering what I'm going to say, and believe you me, I'm doing exactly the same thing. Wondering what I'm going to play, so I'll play the conundrum. actually, I said that Joanne wasn't here, and I very nearly wasn't here myself. Because I had a really terrible cold, a man flu. To such an extent that I went to the doctors last week. And I was at the doctor's and I was sitting there, and I happened to look over the other side of the waiting room, and there was a nun sitting there. And she was absolutely crying her eyes out. It was absolutely heart-wrenching. So, anyhow, I didn't have much time to think about it, because Mr. Kirkpatrick into the doctor's waiting room, and I said to the doctor, listen doctor, I said, I've only got a cold or something like that. I said, could you not deal with the nun out there? And he said, oh, he says, it's all right. He says, I've dealt with her. I says, oh, and what's wrong? Oh, he says, I told her she was pregnant. And I said, oh, is she? And he says, well, no, he said, not really, he said, but it certainly cured her hiccups. Better watch, I might get excommunicated. Me coming from Iona, how much let's see. Anyway, in about a fortnight's time, I'm going to record a Take the Floor programme on Radio Scotland, etc. And I've put together this wee set of Gaelic waltzes, which I'm calling the national anthems. So you can guess, special prize for anyone that can guess where these tunes are from. And of course the prize is a night out with Kenny Thompson. The runner-up prizes gets 2 nights out.
was appropriate for people to get up and dance. Quite a lot of space. Not that I was going to, because the hip wouldn't actually work. Do you know when you something happens and you remember where you were and who was with you? In this the last section of the programme, I was actually sitting down beside the bleachers in Paisley Town Hall with Joanne Kilpatrick when the male voice massed choirs came on to sing in Yalavan. And it certainly was one of the highlights of the Paisley Mode for me, for many, many reasons. The song is so beautiful in itself, the arrangement is just exquisite, and of course, as you'll see in the programme, and as Gordon referred to, Kirstine Menzies arranged that. And it was just so powerful and beautiful to hear all these men singing together. It was really touched our hearts. Now tonight we don't have a massed choir of men, but what we do have is a select group of tenors and basses from a Glasgow Islay Gaelic Choir, and it will be equally beautiful. Because I heard a little snippet of the men singing when I came in. After the gentlemen sing this song, this is an impressive sing. Glasgow Islay are going to sing this year's first. So we're looking forward to hearing that. And I think, is there an interval of how long after that? 10 minutes of an interval. But I think that will allow you to buy more raffle tickets. Like lots more raffle tickets. So tenors and basses will be doing Yalavan. Thank you.
As the gentlemen arrive, and of course there's so many of them it'll take them a while. We are just very delighted that in fact we have the minimum requirement of 10 who are able to sing it. But just for those of you who don't have the benefit of the language of the Garden of Eden, the song in Yalavan, the White Swan, is written in retrospect in the trenches in First World War in France. And he does, in fact, it's a love song, and his final verse he says, "Good night, my dear," because he doesn't expect to return. In fact, he did return to the island of Lewis, and it's a very beautiful words and beautifully arranged by Kirstine.
Brother,
ladies are arriving, I would just like to make it clear that in fact, at this stage in the game, we don't really like to show too many of our cards in the performance of this test piece for October, because there are 2 other conductors sitting in the room, and I don't want them to get all the best ideas. So we'll just play it under a wee bit.
Habangek na curricula, Habangek na curricula, Habangek na curricula, Spanek na curricula, Habangek na curricula, Habangek na curricula, Habangek na curricula, Spanek na curricula, Curricula vena lekin, Kado curricula lekin, Curricula feta strone mata groma egre, Curricula vena lekin, Kado curricula lekin, Curricula Sronje Malgrom Herre, Habangek na curricula, Habangek na curricula, Habangek na curricula, Spanek na curricula, Habangek na curricula, Habangek na curricula, Habangek na curricula, Spanek na curricula. Batakanagali configurus of Rockington, Batakanagali configurus of Ireland, Batakanagali configurus of Rockington, Batakanagali configurus of Ireland. Oh, good idea, hey, good idea. Oh, good idea, hey, Rockington. Oh, good idea, hey, good idea. Oh, good idea, hey, Rockington. Batakanagali configurus of Rockington, Batakanagali configurus of Ireland, Batakanagali configurus of Rockington, Batakanagali configurus of Ireland. Oh, good a bunny shaker, hey, good a bunny shaker. Oh, good a bunny shaker, shake a bunny shaker. Oh, good a bunny shaker, hey, good a bunny shaker. Oh, good a bunny shaker, shake a bunny shaker. Batakanagali configurus of Rockington, Batakanagali configurus of Ireland, Batakanagali configurus of Rockington, Batakanagali configurus of Ireland. Batakatamoran, Bacon is Lonigan, Batakatamoran, Secretary, Batakatamoran, Bacon is Lonigan, Batakatamoran, Secretary, Batakanagali configurus of Rockington, Batakanagali configurus of Ireland, Batakanagali configurus of Rockington, Batakanagali configurus of Ireland.
Angus for your fabulous piping. Let's give him another round. The choir is now going to perform two songs. The first one being Cuachach nan Cruv, and I think this is right up there for me as one of my favourite Gaelic choral arrangements. It's from a much bigger poem, but the actual amount of passion and sadness and angst and whatever within the text is just amazing. And Anne McDermott has written just the most wonderful, classy, quality arrangement for this song. I'm really looking forward to hearing this again tonight, as I know we loved working on it last year. The second song I have never heard the choir singing before because I didn't hear them at the Mod, and I believe this was your own choice for last year, so I'm looking forward to hearing that too. So just bask in this Cuachach nan Cruv because it really is wonderful.
I have to get my little Skye joint in. The poet William Ross was from the Isle of Skye, and it's a heartbroken loss of his beloved, who left him, in fact, before she very tragically died down south in England. And this is just the most beautiful. It's of the time of Wordsworth and Keats, and it's that kind of poetry. Cuachach nan Cruv. And the Cuachach, you'll know what a Cuachach is, if you don't already, when you hear the song.
This evening to propose tonight's vote of thanks. Before I do so though, I'll tell you a very quick story about something that happened to me yesterday, because I felt I couldn't come here and now not say it. So yesterday I did I did a comparison to become a notary public, so if anyone wants anything notarized, very reasonable rates. But as part of that, and this will surprise no one that knows me at all, I probably wasn't as prepared for it as I probably should have. So I arrived at the ceremony, all very good, swore my oath to do a faithful detail, that kind of stuff. And one of the bits I forgot that I should have prepared was that you have to have a motto, and that gets inscribed in a seal, and if I notarise anything, I put my motto onto the document. So this comes round, and I'm first under the gun, so to speak, so they come to me first, so I've not got any time to have a think and say, oh, Ben, what's your motto? And it has to be something that's not in English. So perhaps with this on the brain, I knew I was coming here, the first thing that popped into my head was Jaishalas Jonna. If anyone wants something notarised with my personal seal saying Jaishalas Jonna, I'll be at the Mod, I'll do a riding stand to the merch. But like I said, very reasonable rates. But anyway. on to the reason I'm here, and that's to propose tonight's vote of thanks. I'm going to stick to my list because otherwise I'll inevitably forget someone. If I would ask that you save all your applause to the end and then give everyone a massive cheer just so I can get through this. I would first start by thanking our magnificent eye for this evening, Captain Calendar. As Gordon said, we're so happy to have you with us this year, having not had you last year. I think perhaps part enemy in the conductor of the Govan, but more part friend. I'll call you a frenemy. But thank you for stitching everything together so slickly and with good humour. And it's as a small token of our appreciation, we'd like to present you with a present and thank you. Next up to my fellow baritone, but more importantly for this evening, our piper, Agnes MacLeod, for welcoming us into the hall and to the second half in the traditional style. And there's more Grag somewhere in Tang. A personal highlight of mine. An absolute big thank you to our special guest for this evening, Charlie Kirkpatrick, for his turn on the box. I think you've got another turn coming, so perhaps you're getting your thanks a bit ahead of time. I'm more than happy to give it. I think you give you combine musicality and charm in equal measures. I don't know which bit I prefer more, the music or the patter, but they're both a lovely compliment to this evening. Thank you to our soloists, to Alison, to Maven, to Fergus, for sharing your solos with us. I never tire of hearing your voices, and they sounded lovely tonight. So thank you for collectively treating us to your dulcet tones. Next, just generally to the choristers of the choir, for your continued commitment and for lending your voices to our cause. I think, as Gordon mentioned, it's lovely to see a kind of recent swelling of our numbers, especially in the male voice. It makes my job a lot easier, and I'm sure all the men of the choir would agree, in terms of the group that we now have. I think that we're always greater than some of our parts, and it's my privilege to count myself amongst your number. So a big thank you to you, to the committee as well in particular for supporting putting something like this together. They're kind of the beating heart of the choir, I guess, and do a lot of unseen work behind the scenes. And in particular, from the choir and also personally for myself, to our president, Gordon, for the effort that you put in, continue to put in, keeping us all on time, telling us what we need to know, and I think your clipboard is iconic. I don't know what I'll do to try and emulate that next year, but thank you for everything that you do for the choir. Next up, to our Gaelic reader, Maeve, and also soloist for this evening. Absolutely delighted to, I guess, have you back. I say that as if I remember the first time. I don't, perhaps, but it's lovely to have you with us. I think you probably managed to stick with us for a bit over a year now. So I think, I'll say it's my right to say you've now passed your probation. So for sticking with us, and hopefully you stick with us to come. I feel my understanding, hopefully the choir's understanding, has been broadened of the language because of your input. And because of that, I've decided to give your thank you. I'll split it into three parts, beginning, a middle and an end. So thank you for your knowledge, your attention to detail, and sometimes, I've not got the ending, but there's something to work on. Something to work on. So in particular, we'd like to give you a massive thank you for your efforts this year, and hopefully these flowers brighten up your world as much as you brighten ours. So next up, and this is probably the bit I struggled most to write, because I didn't know quite what I could say about the legend that is Kirstine. Many of you in the audience will probably know her a lot better than I do, but what I've settled for is that I've rarely met someone with such a big heart, but equally such a fierce skill. I think I've probably experienced one more than the other. I'll leave that to your imagination as to what that might be. But whatever variation of that you take, I think what I would distill that down to is passion. And thank you for the passion that you give the choir for a lot of years now, and equally for the music and for the language. I think you are the matriarch of our kind of choir family, and again, just thank you for everything you do for us, and again, a small token of our appreciation because of that. A special thank you for the National Theatre and also for Nikos for helping us out relatively last minute with giving us some staging for this evening. And last but very much not least, for all of you for coming out tonight, being very generous with the raffle, albeit I think the choir kind of cleaned up with the bags as well. I don't know who was pulling that. But thank you very much for coming out and supporting the choir. We'll be posting on social media in terms of trays and all that kind of stuff. So thank you for tonight. Hopefully you'll hang about afterwards for a wee strúpa. And also a thanks to the Tunnocks family for donating some of the purvey that will go along with that. So if I can ask you to join in the usual manner to thank all the aforementioned, and apologies to anyone I unintentionally omitted.
So it is time for some chat and tunes with Charlie, or tunes and chat with Charlie. Where is Charlie for the chat and tunes?
Thank you. For the avoidance of doubt, can I just tell you that it's not my birthday party. It's not far off it, right enough. But anyway, at the interval there, I was approached by a gentleman from Lewis. Well, someone's got to come from there. Is there anyone in the hall tonight from Lewis? Or is the question too difficult? Anyway, we'll call him Mr. MacLeod. That's the right one. And he said, you didn't include any Lewis songs in your selection of Tour Around the Islands there. I said, well, are there any good songs from Lewis? Oh, here's one. That's it. Get again. you're singing there that you don't get shanghaied into some Gaelic choir or other. That's why you never hear me singing. Catherine didn't, well, she mentioned that I was from Iona, and in fact, have any of you here ever been to Iona? Yes. My goodness. Well, the crofters in Iona are having a really, really hard time. It's worse than that. But one particularly entrepreneurial crofter decided on a way that he could make money. And so a lot of you know what I'm talking about. As you come off the ferry and come up the pier, he put a table up at the top of the pier and a great big notice, learning tablets, £40 each. So this, the tourists were coming off the ferry, and this guy came up to the old crofter and he says, these must be very, very good learning tablets, he says, at that price, at £40 each. So the old crofter said to him, oh yes, they're very, very good learning tablets. And the tourist said, very well, he said, my man, he says, I'll take 2. So he hands over the £80 and got the 2 learning tablets, and immediately he put one in his mouth, and almost immediately he spat it out. He said, good God, man, he says, that tastes like sheep's dung. And the old crofter said to him, aye, he says, you're learning. But for a while, for a long time, for 30 years, I walked the streets of Glasgow and get paid for it. I was in the Glasgow police for 30 odd years, and one instance that sticks out was a number of years ago, the Pope visited Glasgow. And I think he maybe visited Scotland, but anyway, he visited Glasgow, and over in Bellahouston Park they had this massive mass, and I think there was maybe near 1 million there, certainly 500,000 anyway. And my job, I was on duty that day, and my job was at the corner of Moss Park Boulevard and Bellahouston Drive to corral the Reverend Ian Paisley and his partner in crime, Pastor. It's an easy mistake to make pronunciation. So they were there giving it laldy, you know, but I don't know, I don't think they liked the Pope. Anyway, there was massive security there, and at some point during the course of the afternoon, this wee Glasgow punter managed to get through all the security and get up on the stage beside the Pope. So they tried to drag him off, but he's up in the stage. So he goes up to the Pope and he said, excuse me, Mr. Pope, by the way. As all Glasgow punters say, by the way. Right, so, have we any Glasgow punters in here? By the way. So he says, by the way, Mr. Pope, he said, could you give me a hand with my hearing? And the Pope said, very well, he said, Scottish Pope. He said, kneel down there, my son. So the wee guy knelt down, so the Pope put his hands over his ears, gazed him once, and he stood up, and he said to the Glasgow guy, he says, right, he says, stand up, he says, how has that helped your hearing? And the wee Glasgow guy said, I don't know, he says, my hearing doesn't come up till next week at Glasgow Sheriff. Didn't know what way that was going, did you? clap. Thank you.
Well, we've now come to the last group of songs from the choir, and I don't know about you, but I feel as though the concert has gone in a flash. It's been absolutely excellent. Again, I would just like to say how much of a pleasure it has been and a privilege to come and be some small part of your excellent concert tonight. Congratulations to Kirsty and to Maeve and to the whole choir for some excellent singing, and it's just been wonderful. The first two of the last three songs are arranged by Kirsty and quite different, and I'll let her talk about these because the second one is a Runrick song, and we're going to be sent on our way tonight in a very fitting manner with the Sam French. I would just like to put it out there that I want not just one choir at my funeral doing this, but the massed choir. So just so as you know, just in case Gilmer forgets. But it's just a wonderful piece, and again it's something that I remember from being very young and hearing choirs doing it, and it's just a very fitting way to end this. And of course we have Ian McLean as the presenter, and as you well know, Ian has this gloriously rich and warm and sonorous voice, which is just perfect for this piece. So I'll hand over to Kirsten to tell you a bit about the two songs that you do.
Well, the first one, Sorry Leis Vrech Ganúr, is a farewell to the tartan. It goes back to the days of the proscription, when in fact the tartan was banned. And the wearing of the tartan was banned, and the wearing of kilts, and the men did not like it one little bit. So there's a little bit of cursing goes on in this, quite polite cursing, but the word malach will get thrown about as they make their feelings known to the government of the time. And the second one is just a light love song from the pen of Callum MacDonald of Runrick. And we sang this, they've now introduced mods, becoming very trendy. We've got an accompanied competition now. So we sang this last year at that. Can I just say what a pleasure it is to have my friend Catherine here in the chair. And I do enjoy the camaraderie that we have throughout the Gaelic world, the Gaelic choral world, and all of us together, while competing, can always remain friends, always. So, Sorry Leis Vrech Ganúr.
Sorry Leis Vrech Ganúr, or some mera amorur, Basio meos yun mognur, down and bletter gloom and course. Malach, 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 de criulium separate, ure British, 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 Gusan changes the horse to wine. Sorry, Leis Vrech Ganúr, or some mera amorur, Basio meos yun mognur, down and bletter gloom and course. Could be British glass in hooks, are around the rocky fern. Agia grúad och moghum, on a vorni tutor gúr. Sorry, Leis Vrech Ganúr, or some mera amorur, Basio meos yun mognur, down and bletter gloom and course. Strum and Gorsh, Sonny Nation Breck and Gil, or some Nera Hamorud, Bash your males, gloom or gloom, Yawn and Pletted, gloom and Gorsh, Yawn and Pletted, gloom and Gorsh.
Right, you Farewell to you.